Hello, welcome to another tutorial video. We're going to be looking at the A attempt now at the question which we've just done, the C grade 1-2. Now before we do that, obviously we have to know exactly what it is we have to give the examiner. So what the examiner is looking for is an insightful and exploratory response to the task. So basically we have to show insight, which basically means we're looking very deeply into something and we can pick up all the nuances and all the details, and it has to be exploratory, which basically means we can kind of take the examiner on a journey through a range of ideas. So we start talking about one thing and then we explore other avenues that develop from it, and that's actually really important because I'm going to show that to you in the plan. In the planning is going to be different for this one because we're trying to make it more exploratory. Insightful and exploratory response to the text itself, so we've got to look at the ideas and the backing and all the understanding that comes with it. Close analysis of detail to support interpretation. So if you go back up to the C one, okay, details are linked. Now this one has to be close analysis. So not only do you have to pick out the right thing, but you have to actually go into a detailed analysis of everything you pick out. Whereas obviously in the C grade one we've just done, we could just kind of safely just talk about it in a basic sense, but here we have to be a lot more analytical. Evaluation of the writer's use of language. So an evaluation as opposed to an appreciation. So an appreciation just kind of means show that we have to pick it out, show we can know it's there, but evaluation for this, for us, actually means we have to, show why it's worked or why it's clever or how good it is at that point, and then have a convincing and imaginative interpretation of the ideas and themes. So again, imaginative in this one shows that we need to be able to go past simply like, this is a socialist play, he wants them to be good. We have to kind of really give a lot more description and detail, something more convincing than that. Yeah, and then information is presented clearly and accurately, writing is fluent and focused, and syntax and spelling are used with a high degree of accuracy. So we have to write a lot better than we did in the last one as well. So that's what we're going to try and do. Now the question obviously the same, and obviously there's the C plan that we had, and the reason I've actually got that up for us is because basically I want to show you how my A plan is going to be different. Now obviously you would probably be thinking that, well, you can still talk about the same points, and obviously in essence, yes, you can. But what I'm going to do here is, you see I've just listed the things I was actually going to write about. So here I actually put my start and, or towards the end, and then I was just going to chronologically go through it and actually talk about it. I'm still going to go through it chronologically, but remember, I have to actually do this, the exploratory aspect, and that's probably going to come straight away. So I'm still going to be using slacked, which has disappeared from there, so we'll just go over it again. So the speech of the character, the language used in description, the actions that they perform, the other comments from characters, and the directions. Okay, now for this one I'm going to have to include one or two of each, okay, because that's going to kind of hit both of these. When I'm actually looking at them, they're going to hit this criteria, both of these criteria, and that's what I need to do. But my planning in and of itself is going to be different, bearing that in mind. I need to make sure that I'm hitting them. So count this as a start of my planning time then. So obviously I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start with the materialistic, and I'm going to talk about how that's actually shown in her actions. So I'm just going to put an action, an A for that. I'll talk about an action. I'm also going to talk about her ideas there, because obviously her marriage. Okay, so I'm going to start exploring that idea, and then obviously I'm going to talk about the end, when Jared turns out to be fake. I'm also then at the same time when I'm at that beginning, I'm going to talk about her language. I'm going to talk about, say, the use of the word mummy, for example. I'm also going to get her to talk about, the position which she actually leaves, because that's really important in terms of where she's going, and that's a comment on women in society. And then also I'm going to get talking about, say again, all of the plan, when her mum says, with regards to important men of business. So we've got the reaction to mum, and when she says, I'm not going to get used to it, reaction to mum, not get used to it. And then I'm going to link that afterwards to fully standing up for herself later on, because I'm exploring all these things, standing up for herself. So I want to develop it in that way rather than just kind of listing it straight out. Then I'm going to actually talk about her upset and how she actually feels, and I'm going to focus more on her linking to society, and also talk about responsibilities. Then I'm actually going to look at her helping the inspector, and I'm going to look at the movements she takes. I'm going to look at how her parents talk to her. Parents react to her doing that. I'm going to look at how Eric looks up to her. Eric supports her. And then I'm going to move on to, again, the lessons that she has. And look at how what she's learnt, passes on, and I'm going to look at the way she speaks now, and then how she's a voice of a generation, and also look at the independence. So that's how I'm actually, you see there where I've got the dashes in this one is basically all the areas that I'm actually going to take it in. Now, just to check, just for myself, I want to make sure I'm doing a couple of things. So I know I've got these in my head, but I just want to kind of show you that I'm just trying to check off the list to make sure that I'm touching on things. So if this is my A plan, let's see if it's enough, first of all, because we want to get all of these things in. We need to make sure that we've got we need to make sure that we've got the all these areas covered for. Okay, so speech, yeah, we're definitely going to be analysing a speech. Language, obviously I'm definitely going to be analysing the language in terms of the stage directions. Her actions, okay, well, here I haven't got it, So in her independence, actually I'm going to talk about the giving of the ring, etc. And then, so it's good that I've actually added that. Her comments, what have I talked about? Have I got anything for comments here? Yes, the way her parents react to her, what's gotten into that girl. Then what have I got for directions, stage directions? Obviously I've got something right at the beginning I can use for that one, and yep, obviously the giving of the ring as well. So I've hit a couple there. Now, do I think this is insightful and exploratory? Well, how am I going to take it again? All right, I'm going to go from materialism, and I'm going to talk about the ideas that she actually wants to get across, or Preeti's getting across through her. I'm going to talk about the marriage and how Gerald, and yep, that's quite exploratory, because then basically I've also shown that the marriage would never have worked even if, she hadn't changed. She realizes not only does she need to change, but she also realizes that the life she would have had is fake, because the person that she was going to marry wasn't even the person that he thought it was. So that's obviously explored that kind of whole idea, the idea of marriage and independence, etc. And then I'm going to be looking at the language, the way she speaks, etc. And then obviously when they leave, and the women in society, and obviously her mum saying she get used to it again. So that's all worth developing. And then obviously later on showing how she stands up for herself, which is again what Priestley's actually saying. People have to be more independent against the status quo, not necessarily the just children against parents, but we have to kind of look at people just standing up for what's right, more or at least socially responsible, should I say. Her getting upset, and then obviously linking that to the society, obviously not to forget other people, again looking at Priest's ideas, and the responsibilities we have in general, and obviously the responsibilities she keeps with herself, keeps them. And then helping the inspector, the movements she actually makes, she's going wrong, and how her parents react to that, obviously in what they say and what they do. And obviously how Eric supports her, again that's kind of showing, I forgot I've got these up here. Yeah, we've got obviously the younger generation obviously standing up for their parents, but obviously some of the themes I'm going to have to touch on are going to have to be a little deeper, so I'll have to kind of stretch that a little further. And then the lessons she learned that she passes on, and how she speaks, so that she's the voice of a generation. And her independence by the end, and the giving of the ring, etc. And then maybe I'm going to just discuss after that. I'm actually going to look at the idea of who she would be. I'm not going to do that in a very detailed way. I just mean in terms of the picture that Priestley wants to leave us with of her. So then if I'm looking at some of these ideas here, obviously these all still apply. I might just add a couple just to make them more relevant. Okay, I might actually want to talk about the theme of marriage and obviously status. Mariage, status, and I might also want to talk about obviously we've talked about the social responsibility, but obviously the kind of the class change. And I think that will probably be enough. So we're going to try and write this one a lot better, and let's see if we can do it.